Most people don't fail because they're not smart enough. They don't fail because they're not talented enough. They fail because they can't control themselves. Think about it. Every day the world tempts you with instant gratification. One scroll on your phone gives you endless dopamine hits. One click delivers food straight to your door. One impulse purchase drains your wallet. Our entire world is designed to make self-control harder than ever. And yet, here's the paradox. The people who succeed in every area of life, health, business, relationships, are the ones who have mastered the ability to wait. They resist the short-term comfort so they can build the long-term reward. This is not just about willpower, it's about biology. Your brain wasn't built for patience, it was built for survival. And survival meant grabbing food, pleasure, and safety immediately, not thinking about 5 years from now. That's why it feels so natural to give in and so unnatural to resist. But here's the truth you need to hear. Self-control can be trained. Your brain can be rewired. Patience isn't a talent you're born with, it's a skill you build. In this video, we're going to dive into the science of self-control, why waiting feels so hard, how your brain tricks you into chasing quick wins, and most importantly, how you can reprogram yourself to hold the line when everyone else gives in. Because once you learn how to wait, you stop being a prisoner of your impulses and you start becoming the master of your future. To understand self-control, we first need to understand what we're really fighting against. It's not laziness, it's not weakness, it's biology. At the core of your brain is a chemical called dopamine. It's the motivation molecule. Whenever you eat something sweet, check your notifications, or win a small reward, your brain releases dopamine. That hit makes you feel good, and it trains your brain to crave that behavior again. From an evolutionary standpoint, this system kept our ancestors alive. Thousands of years ago, if you found honey, you ate it immediately because you didn't know if food would be there tomorrow. If you felt safe near the tribe, you stayed close because isolation meant death. Your brain's job was simple: reward quick action that kept you alive. Fast forward to today, and that same system is being hijacked. Social media, junk food, video games, they all trigger massive dopamine spikes. But unlike in the past, there's no survival benefit. Instead, you get hooked on chasing tiny bursts of pleasure that drain your time, energy, and focus. This is why resisting temptation feels like swimming upstream. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-control and long-term thinking, is in constant battle with your dopamine-driven reward system. The prefrontal cortex is like the brakes, but the dopamine system is like a gas pedal stuck to the floor. Every time you try to diet, save money, or stay focused, you're not just battling your environment. You're battling millions of years of biology urging you to take the quick reward. But here's the key. Biology is not destiny. Just as a muscle gets stronger when trained, your prefrontal cortex, your self-control muscle, can be strengthened. Each time you delay gratification, even in small ways, you're literally rewiring your brain to favor discipline over impulse. So the fight isn't hopeless. In fact, it's one of the most important battles you can win. Because mastering your biology doesn't just change your habits, it changes your future. So what happens when we don't master self-control? On the surface, it looks harmless. You eat the junk food today, you scroll for an extra hour, you spend money on something you don't need. No big deal, right? But the hidden cost is massive. Without self-control, you trade long-term success for short-term relief. That's the real danger. The quick hit of pleasure feels good in the moment, but it leaves you weaker over time. Think about it. The person who gives in to comfort foods every day doesn't feel the damage immediately, but years later they struggle with health issues that could have been avoided. The person who keeps just treating themselves with little purchases doesn't notice the impact at first, but years later they wonder why their savings never grew. The person who always checks their phone instead of focusing on their work doesn't see the loss day to day, but over time they've built nothing of value. The truth is this: every shortcut has a price, and the price is usually your future. Even worse, a lack of self-control doesn't just rob you of progress, it eats away at your identity. Every time you give in, you send yourself the message, I can't trust me. And that erodes your confidence, your discipline, and your belief in what's possible. On the other hand, when you practice self-control, even in small ways, you send the opposite message. I keep my word. I do what I say. I choose my future that builds self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of true confidence. History and psychology are filled with examples of people who mastered patience and discipline, and as a result, built greatness. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is rarely talent. It's self-control, because without it, the path is predictable. Short-term highs, long-term regrets. With it, the path is also predictable. Short-term effort, long-term freedom. So ask yourself, Stias, which future are you building with your choices today? Here's the good news. Waiting isn't just a moral virtue. It's backed by science. One of the most famous studies that proved this is the marshmallow test. In this experiment, kids were given a marshmallow and told they could eat it immediately, or wait 15 minutes and get two. Some kids ate it right away, others managed to wait. Decades later, researchers followed up, and the children who had waited weren't just a little more successful. They had higher SAT scores, healthier relationships, better careers, and even stronger emotional control. Why? Because the ability to delay gratification isn't about snacks, it's about wiring the brain for long-term wins. When you wait, something powerful happens in your brain. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that handles logic, planning, and self-control, becomes more active. Every time you resist the quick reward, you're giving this part of the brain a workout, and like a muscle, it gets stronger. At the same time, waiting builds patience, resilience, and focus. It teaches your nervous system that discomfort isn't danger and that frustration can be endured. This is why people who master delayed gratification perform better under stress. Their brain is trained not to panic when things don't come instantly. Think about it like planting a seed. Eating the marshmallow right away is like digging it up before it grows. Waiting is like watering it, protecting it, and letting it grow into something far more valuable than what you started with. The science is clear. People who learn to wait build stronger brains, stronger habits, and stronger futures. Self-control doesn't just help you resist temptation, it literally reshapes your mind to think bigger, longer, and deeper. So the next time you feel that urge for the quick hit, remember the marshmallow and ask yourself, do I want the candy now or the entire feast later? Now that we know the brain is wired for instant gratification, the question becomes, how do we rewire it to wait? The truth is, you don't need superhuman willpower, you need strategy. Here are 3 powerful ways to train your brain for self-control. 1. Micro delays and start small. The next time you feel an impulse, don't try to suppress it forever. Just say, not yet. Delay the action by 5 minutes. That tiny pause weakens the grip of the craving. Over time, you can stretch that delay longer, building your patience muscle just like lifting heavier weights in the gym. 2. Discomfort training. Most people run from discomfort, but champions train with it. Cold showers, fasting, tough workouts. These aren't punishments, they're practice. Each time you embrace discomfort willingly, you send a signal to your brain. I can handle waiting. I don't need the quick fix. This rewires your nervous system to see struggle not as danger but as strength. 3. Environment design. Self-control isn't just about willpower, it's about setting yourself up to win. If your phone keeps distracting you, put it in another room. If junk food keeps pulling you in, don't keep it in the house. Don't fight temptation head-on. Make it harder to access. This removes friction from the wrong choice and adds momentum to the right one. And here's the key. None of these techniques are about perfection, they're about repetition. Each time you delay, endure, or design your environment better, you lay down new neural pathways. Slowly, your brain stops craving the quick reward and starts craving progress, growth, and mastery instead. Because self-control isn't about fighting your brain, it's about training it. And once you train it to wait, the impulses that used to own you start losing their power. Here's the truth. Lasting self-control isn't just about tactics. It's about identity. Think about it. If you tell yourself, I'm trying to be disciplined, you've already created a loophole. But if you tell yourself, I am a disciplined person, your actions start to line up with that belief. Psychology shows that our behavior follows our identity. A smoker who says, I'm trying to quit, still sees themselves as a smoker, but one who says, I don't smoke, has already shifted their identity, and their choices naturally follow. Self-control works the same way. Every time you resist a craving, delay a reward, or stick to discipline, you cast a vote for the kind of person you believe yourself to be. One choice won't change everything, but hundreds of choices stack up into a powerful identity. I am someone who waits. I am someone in control. This shift is what makes self-control sustainable, because willpower fades, motivation fades, but identity is permanent. Once you see yourself as a disciplined, patient person, self-control stops being a struggle. It becomes who you are. Here's a simple practice. The next time you hold back from an impulse, tell yourself, that's who I am. I'm someone who chooses my future over my cravings. Reinforce it, repeat it, make it part of your story. Because in the end, self-control isn't just about resisting temptation. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer needs to fight so hard. And when self-control becomes your identity, you don't just win in the moment, you win for life. So let's bring it all together. Most people fail not because they aren't talented or intelligent, but because they can't wait. Their brain is wired to chase the quick hit, the instant pleasure, the easy way out. And every time they give in, they trade their future for the present. But you don't have to live that way. Self-control is not fixed. It's a skill. It's a muscle. It's an identity you can build. We've seen how biology pushes you toward instant gratification, but also how patience rewires your brain for strength. We've seen how waiting compounds into resilience, confidence, and real freedom. And we've seen that every small act of self-control is a vote for the person you want to become. Here's the bottom line. Instant gratification gives you pleasure. Self-control gives you power. The strongest people aren't the ones who move fastest. They're the ones who can wait the longest. They're the ones who say no to comfort today, so they can say yes to greatness tomorrow. So the next time your impulses scream for attention, remember the science, remember your identity, and remember this: success is hidden on the other side of patience. If this video helped you see self-control in a new way, then don't stop here. Subscribe to Unbreakable Mind, because this channel is where we build discipline, resilience, and the mindset most people never master. Together, we're not just learning to wait, we're rewiring our brains for freedom.